Hello everyone, welcome to CAD Builder Update version 1.3.12. Let's go over what's new. Let's begin with the design portion of things. Let's say you have some walls in place, like let's say this wall B, and we're trying to put some kind of side wall that branches off of it without splitting the wall in two. And we're not planning to put any cabinets onto that wall, so something like a pony wall. Normally how you go about this is you'd go to the layouts and activate your wall drawing tool. And then create the wall, take the wall afterwards and disable its front zone. But then that gives you an extra dimension and it will split that associated wall in two, right? So this will get one sectional view and this will get yet another sectional view. So how would you go about it otherwise? Well, we have a new solution for you. So first you go to the elevation view of the relevant wall. Then you go to the user shape section and you'll notice there is a third category called T-wall. And it's as simple as just clicking and dragging from here and onto the elevation view. There's our T-wall. We can see it now present in a 3D view. Notice it does not split the elevation view in two, and it has its properties here with height, depth, and position values that you can change. And it will work just like any other item. So cabinets will just bump up against it. If I click and drag a cabinet, it will just go right up against it. It will act like any other item. It won't have any front zones, back zones, or dimension lines to interfere with everything else. Now onto the cabinet construction side of things. Both the starter catalog and the normal catalog template have a new category for closets, where we have some pre-built configuration of closet cabinetry. Now, of course, we encourage you to go through these constructions, make sure they have the correct opening sizes, the correct type of elements within that would match the design that you're trying to make. But these might help you get a head start when you're designing your closets. The wireframe editor also has some new features. So here I have a tall cabinet. Let's say that I'm trying to make some kind of an appliance cabinet with some pair of doors at the top, an opening in the middle maybe for an oven, and some drawers below. I'll first go to the front sections, divide this whole front section into three areas. And then I'll make the top the pair of doors, and I'll make the bottommost opening a drawer and split that into three different drawers. Now, when I type in the opening heights, I would normally have to start from the top and just go piece by piece below, because whatever change I enforce into an opening, that will take or give to the bottom opening, the one right below it. But now we have directional control. So let's say I have this opening here. Right now it's an opening height of 27. Maybe I want it to be something like 45 inches opening, but I do not want it to go to the bottom opening. If I look to the cell controls, we'll see some new arrows next to cell height, opening height, and the other dimensions as well. So what I can do is now I can tell, okay, opening height, actually expand the size towards the top. And now when I type in 45, that change will be enforced onto the top cell, so the one right above it. Another new feature is you can make opening dimensions a fixed height or fixed width. So let's say that I'm going to the a drawer box below it, and I want it to be an opening height of 5 inches. I can type in 5 inches and keep it as a fixed height. I'll do the same with the one below it. I'll make it an opening height of 5 inches. Keep this a fixed height. And then normally if I were to go to this other opening and change it to 5 inches, it would force again that change to the cell above. It cannot just push the bottom shelf below. But since I made these two fixed heights, I can now go to the bottom opening, make it 5 inches, and it will keep them fixed as well and pass that change onto the cell right above them. Right, so now this one took that extra space left over from making this bottom opening 5 inches. So now this is 5 inches, this is 5 inches, and this is now a fixed height of 5 inches. Just keep in mind that once you make it a fixed height, it of course won't change until you uncheck this. So if I were to go, for instance, to this opening above and I try to expand the size bottom and change its dimension, it will give me a warning that I cannot do that. So it'll enforce that change in the other direction instead. So I'll make this as well. We'll go with a 50-inch opening, leaving about this much space. And this applies to the inside sections as well. So if I make this mid rail have a shelf behind it, I'll put a limited shelf behind this as well. Now where to go to the inside sections, and I were to change the opening height here, I can pick to go up down or keep this opening a fixed height. So maybe if I always place an appliance here that needs a 52-inch opening, I can make it 52 inches and then move forward. Moving on to the cut list menu. When you visit your cut list module, you of course see the cut list table where it shows you every single part that makes up that cabinet. So all the hardware, all the hardwood, banding, panel stock, it will all appear here. But what if you want to view a single subsection of it for the purpose of printing out the cut list or sending it to your CNC or your nesting? Well, you will normally have to go to your reports or drawings to view that specific subsection, but now you can do so directly within the cut list module. So if you look over to the left-hand column and you click on the filter button, you can filter as normal by your cabinet types or by panel types, but there's a new section here. You can make a new cut list profile for your filter. So we click on the edit profile button. We create a new custom filter. Let's say I'm trying to make one for specifically my base cabinet face frames. Well, I'll go to the top left, I'll create a new profile, and I'll name it base cabinet face frames. And then I click create. I have my new profile now. And the idea is I would go over on the right and check the box on next to the part that I want to appear. So I will go over to the left style, bottom rail, mid style, right style, top rail, blind style, and plain panel rail. And then click apply. So now whenever I see my cut list and I go to the filter and I select the base cabinet face frame filter, it will show me just those parts in particular. And now when I print, again, it will only show me the face frame. Therefore, I can make it the same thing happen for my drawer box parts or my door parts or any other subsection of my cut sheet that I want to be present. Now onto the machining side of things, we've integrated our software with a couple of new machines. If we go back to the cut list table, for instance, you can go to the top left and click export to cut list, and we have a new file type that you can output called the cut list RZG, and that will output the cut list table to razor gauge that can take that file, import it, and cut your face frame down to size, including the scribe mark. So whoever will be assembling your face frame parts will know where all the mid rails and mid styles will go. We've also integrated ourselves with two new CNC machines. One would be the Buccellato. This mode will enable you to control your Buccellato machines by exporting programs to the TPA CAD file format. We've also integrated ourselves with another BSA machine that actually uses BSA's proprietary NC language. So now we can control BSA through BSolid, BSA Works, as well as through its CNC code directly. The tool definitions within your tool library also has a new section now called feed and speed rates. Now normally you would type in the feed rate, the plunge rate, and the spindle speed directly for each tool to material pair. But that allows you to have the optimal speed for each material, but it can also get a little tedious whenever you create, say, a new material or a new tool, because you have to re-enter those speeds for the new sets. But we have two new modes now. So tool material manual input will just go the way that it currently is for that tool bit, but you can also switch it to constant, where you type in an RPM, a feed rate, and plunge rate, and we'll use that across all material pairs. Or you can go to automatic calculation, where you type in an RPM and a plunge rate, and again, those will be consistent across all materials. Now you can type in the number of flutes, and CADbuilder will take this information and use industry standard chip load data to recommend some feed rate for you to use. And so for instance, if you're going to be nesting it onto 3/4 inch MDF, if you're going to be using this tool bit and then you're using it for your plywood, you're going to have different feed rates because those use different chip loads. So use these different modes to mix and match the tool bits that you want to have just a consistent performance all across, or if you wanted to adapt this to your material, or if you wanted to just stick to your material input. Once you have nested some parts, you can now actually move them manually. So let's say I'm looking at this first sheet and maybe I want to shift some of these parts around. I'll first select the sheet that I want to modify, and the bottom left will see a manual part shifting button. When I activate this, I'm now modifying this specific sheet, and I can click and drag to move the parts around. Now you'll notice when you move them, it will try to bump against other parts by default. If I do not want that to happen, I can uncheck part collision and it will ignore that snapping. But generally, we would recommend keeping them on so that parts do not overlap. Well, once you have made the change, you go back to the bottom left, hit save, and that will update your labels, that will update your G-codes to enforce that change. You may also remove parts and place them onto other sheets. So let's say, for instance, I go to this first sheet and I'm going to remove this bottom from its place. I'll click on Menu Part Shifting, select the piece, and click either Remove at the top left or Cut. Either of these will get the part into the Unplaced Parts bin. Now I'll hit Save to lock in the changes for the first sheet, and I go now to the second sheet, where I will once again Manual Part Shifting. Let's say I will vacate this space for the previous part, so I'll select the piece and remove it. And now I can click and drag from the Unplaced Parts bin on the left onto the sheet at the right. So I just click and drag and place it right onto this sheet. And now we'll move some parts, rearrange them. And let's say this is the new arrangement that I want. I hit save. Once again, those changes will be saved. G-codes will be updated, so will the labels. Now, if at some point you move a part to overlap another part, let's say by disabling part collision, and then you hit save, it will give you warnings because it detects that this overlapping is happening. So it's telling me, okay, in sheet number 2, these parts are indeed overlapping. Maybe you'd like to take a look at that before moving forward. If you click confirm, it will still move forward with these changes. If you return, it allows you to go back and see what's up and maybe update those changes. As always, you can view our release notes on our website at CapBuilderSoftware.com/release notes for a full list of changes. Thank you, and we will see you in the next video.